Congressional Black Caucus Annual Legislative Conference here with Congresswoman Barbara Lee. We're at the prayer breakfast this morning, folks. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Wonderful message this morning by Bishop Vashtal McKenzie.
It was wonderful, and I think what we heard, and we got our marching orders this morning, all of us have our role to play in this fight for justice and keeping the dream alive. And so we need to vote. We need to get our friends and family to the poll because we really are the soul of America, and we need to recapture that soul.
Now, I spoke with Jim Clyburn. He's on the record that he intends to run for Speaker if Nancy Pelosi no longer runs or if she doesn't win. You've also made a pretty big announcement, too, something no other African-American woman has done, or any woman I don't think has done, since Shirley Chisholm.
In the history of the United States House of Representatives, there has never been an African-American woman in leadership. And so I'm running for Democratic Caucus Chair because I think I can help unify the caucus. I can work with all of our leadership to really bring an added perspective, a perspective that relates to lifting people out of poverty that needs to be a priority, one that, of course, African-American women understand. We're unifiers, and we know how to pull this country together. And so I'm excited about this campaign and asking everyone to help support my candidacy.
Well, you know, and Representative Clyburn and I talked about, too, you know, there's a little tension with some in the younger generation that do not understand what you all did to get here. You just can't walk up at the age of 20 and assume the positions you have. You know, you all have struggled for 20 and 30 years to get to these positions. And, you know, we're dressed like this for a reason because of our African heritage. You don't discard the elders. The elders and the youth must be together. So I hope people would respect that people like you and Clyburn have earned the right to do this. And it's not time for y'all to retire.
No way. It's very important that we recognize we are about the future.
Yeah.
But also we have to recognize the past experiences of what our ancestors passed to us. We have to take that baton, run forward, and pass it to a new generation. We've learned a lot, and we've actually helped pull together, I think, what is a wonderful coalition of young people, middle age people, older people, to really unify and take this country forward. And remember, African Americans in many ways started running for office for a lot of reasons much later.
That's right.
We had barriers in terms of voting rights and all of the issues we all know about.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about working with our newer members who are coming to Congress. We're going to have a much younger Black caucus. We're going to have a larger Black caucus. And I think it's time for our leader, Mr. Clyburn, myself, and others to step up and lead this country and help us as a country regain our soul, because that's what it's about, especially now as we see how this Trump administration is trying to turn the clock back to the days of Jim Crow.
That's right. Speaking of ancestors, lastly, Ron Dellums.
Ron was, first of all, a statesman, a warrior, a fighter. He was my mentor, my friend, my former boss. I miss him tremendously. Ron passed away July 30th, and he set the, I think, standard for what an elected official, an African-American elected official, should be. He was a person who respected everyone. He maintained his integrity and his principles, even when he disagreed, or those who disagreed with him still loved him because of who he was. He stood his ground.
Yeah.
And I think being around him for so long, he taught me a lot.
Yeah.
And I miss his messages to me of encouragement and inspiration. I had the privilege to be with him every week during the last month of his life. And he did it his way, and we miss him. My condolences once again to his family, who are going through a tremendous period of grieving.
I remember, and he and I were close. I remember when he retired and you came in. You have not missed a step from what he started. There's almost no delineation between you and him, you know, and you can't say that about everybody. Some people's successors go in another direction or do something else, but not the case with you. It's been a continuum, and so I appreciate you, okay?
I worked for Ron for 11 years, and when I announced that I was running for his seat, he was right beside me, and he gave me a blue baton, which I still have.
Wow.
And that baton is about the continuity of progressive politics, of African Americans passing that baton to really fight for a better world, a world free of racism, and a world for justice and equality for everyone.
Congresswoman Barbara Lee for Democratic Caucus Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, we support her. It's high time for us to continue to make history. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Good to
Mark.
see you
Thank
too.